Welcome and welcome back. This is Independent Voice and I am Mami. I want to start today's podcast and what will also be uploaded into my YouTube channel, talking about what this weekend is all about. Memorial Weekend, right? This weekend is about honoring those fallen servicemen and women that paid the ultimate price for every one of us in this nation, for every one of us in this country, whether we feel it, whether we accept it, whether we normalize it, whether we have some type of feeling towards it. Somebody had paid the ultimate price willingly for you and I to sit back and say whatever it is we're going to say over this weekend. I want to be that voice today. A voice of an immigrant who happens to be also a U.S. citizen. An immigrant that can tell you the difference from when I first arrived to this country and where we're at today and where I think we're heading towards. Let me be that voice today. The time has come that we're about to witness what it is that we fled to begin with. Living the familiar, living the place we originated from, seeking what so many people are taking for granted nowadays. It's called freedom. It's called freedom. Freedom to just be. Freedom. Even though there is a fine line that none of us can cross in terms of freedom of speech, we still have the freedom to say whatever. Look what I'm doing. I'm sitting here in the United States of America this weekend to be the voice and to actually speak my truth in telling you it's not what you think. Now, mind you, I said, even though we have the freedom to be, freedom to say, there's always that fine line that we can't cross. That fine line in some other nations very close to you, so close you think you're free but you're not. So as we celebrate, commemorate this weekend and think about those that have freely and willingly sacrificed for yours and my freedom. I have a reason for saying today I want to be the voice of an immigrant. As a reminder to tell you that there was a reason why most of us left to begin with, wherever place that we left, the nation that we originated from. Some of us might have a different reason and purpose. Some of us might have a different motivation. But for most of us, we were seeking freedom to just be. Freedom to exist. To just be. Freedom to have a peace of mind. For so many, yes, in some cases it might come across as certain people or some people are pursuing certain things as they migrate into a new nation and into a new country, and I get that. I'm not dismissing that. I'm going to repeat this throughout this podcast today in saying I am going to be that voice of immigrant. It may or it may not come across as something that you're interested to hear, but I am here to be that voice. We've been there. We've done that. We know what it's like to not have a freedom. We know what the price of freedom is. I may not be the one that went out there and sacrificed my life, but I know what it means to have that freedom in the back of somebody else's ultimate sacrifice. Let me take you back a couple of years. Didn't we have some things to say about when they raised their flags? It made us feel some type of way. How dare they do that? They live in this nation and they should be raising the flag of the United States of America because this is the country in which that accepted them, and they get to live here free of whatever it is that they feared and fled. It did, didn't it? It did. Every time somebody else raised a different flag, we felt some type of way, and that's the truth and that's fact. But then all of a sudden, in the recent months and in the recent years, I see people being offended by the fact that people are raising the American flag. Tell me how. Tell me how that makes sense. Okay. Those that have fled their countries in pursuit of freedom, peace, happiness, whatever it may be, they still have that connection, that pull, that tug. Every now and then it gets them so rattled up, they bring out their flags to say, yeah, we left for a reason, but we still do not want to see that being dismantled, that being destroyed, because it is a country that they originated from. It's a nation that they feel connection. So why do we have that fracturing happening right here in this country, in this nation? Why are we being bothered by somebody bringing out the American flag? Oh, so all of a sudden it's political now. Allegiance is political. Honoring the flag is political. Let me tell you, I have worked for government. I've worked around military people. That is no joke for any one of them. I have been so close, and I know. I've seen it firsthand. It's such a reminder of the price and the sacrifice that they have made for this nation. So for somebody to walk around and disrespect the flag, you aren't disrespecting no politics. You are not disrespecting any human being, any one specific person. We're disrespecting the nation. We're disrespecting the price that people have paid for us to even raise it in such pride. Let me be that voice today. Let me be the immigrant voice to tell you this isn't the route you want to go down. Most of us, millions and millions and millions of people from different nations, left their country of their origin in pursuit of freedom and peace. Where do you think America is going to go to? Or do we think we're just not going to get to the point where it is going to be such a conundrum, even for this great nation, to know where we stand? Let me be that immigrant voice. When you start denouncing your own flag, be careful. Others will raise theirs. When you start putting down yours, others will raise theirs. And I'll tell you, let me be again that immigrant voice. Even to me, it hurts to see it. It bothers me so much because I know how I felt when I first came to this country. I can tell you. I know. I know. You can feel whichever way you want to. You could say and label people whichever way, but let me tell you, it's not about politics. I'm not interested in that. I am telling you, country comes first. Take it from most of us. Yeah. Some of us have continued to actually say, look, a country is a country. The sovereignty of a country must be protected at any cost and at whatever the price is. Well, I'm here to tell you the same thing. It's about country. It's not about politics and who sits in the White House. Listen, we've been there. We've done that. We fought some political fights because we didn't like who was in power, who was leading at the time. But let me tell you, at the end of the time, when it becomes about a country, I do not care who sits where. When you lower the flag, somebody else will bring up theirs. I am the voice of that immigrant that tells you, unless you put America first, unless put the country first. And when I say this, you know, whichever way you want to label me, that's fine. I'm so done being quiet. I just don't want to be quiet. I have seen the change. I could see where we're traveling to. And it's not a good place. We're not heading to a good place. That's not a good place to be at all. Listen, we have the freedom to affiliate whichever way we want to in terms of politics. But you have to know country must come first. Country must come first. It's not about right. It's not about left. It's not. At the end of the day, I am here to tell you it has got to be about country. We all know, we've witnessed it, right? When certain group of people, certain communities from certain countries raised their flags and distorted and disrespected the American flag, we all felt some type of way, didn't we? Some of us were vocal, some of us weren't. But in silence, we all felt it. How dare they do this to a nation that took them in, to a nation that gave them refuge, to a nation that gave them that solace when they needed it the most. How dare they stand on the ground, on the streets of this great nation and disrespect the flag? So what makes it okay for those of us who say belong here to do the same? Why has it become such a political statement for somebody to raise the flag? Would this be a political statement? Would it? Would it be a political statement, or would it be a statement that speaks the truth? When I see this, let me tell you, I am reminded of the freedom I felt, literally, when I first came at a very young age. It was so real, you can touch it. Let me be the one to tell you, yes, an immigrant. Let me be the one to tell you, I am so proud to call myself an American. You know, I am originally from Africa. But I am a proud American. See, when I do this, I don't necessarily see politics. I don't necessarily take part in any side whatsoever. I just know that this is the country that I have experienced in the true sense, what it's like to be free and to have freedom. It's not about a political party or political affiliation. I'll tell you another thing. When I first came to this country, in God we trust. Let me tell you, yeah, it almost felt like I was reading the Bible. For a nation to so proudly and so boldly to make a statement, in God we trust. And for that reason, this nation has been so blessed. Those of us who happen to come from a different experience know the difference. But this was a nation that's built itself in trusting God. In God we trust. That has become such a shameful thing to say. Let me be that voice from an immigrant, let me tell you. And I'm not just talking about the people of this nation. I am coming also for the immigrant communities. As immigrants, let me tell you, lately I've been thinking about, and I have lived with immigrants that have come to this nation many years ago, like a couple generations ago, right? What is the difference? They've assimilated. What is the difference? They've accounted this country as their own countries and they built it. They weren't here as long as they can get what it is that they want to get, and then their mind and their motivation wasn't as soon as they get what they want, everything in them says, oh, home is still over there. Home is to begin with here for them. They made a home out of it. So my challenge to every immigrant, communities, individuals is, where is home? Where is home? You know, lately I've been thinking it's okay to migrate to a nation, to a country for different reasons. You want to do business, you want to invest here, knock yourself out, go do it. Go do it. Because there is such a thing called immigration process, like the immigration process that will allow you to have that business visa to allow you to do business here. And then when you're done doing business, you can go do your long-term plan, whatever it is you want to do it. But when the moment you decide to become a citizen of this country, you have to make a home out of it. I know a whole bunch of people are going to come for me, but you know what? So be it. So be it. The things that I have addressed, the things that I have done, the main reason why I started Independent Voice to begin with was such a grounding question for me. I'm asking myself. See, I'm not just pointing a finger outwards. The rest of them are pointing back to me. Did we make a home out of this country? Let's be honest. Are we here for the things that we desire and our motivation is to just do that? Then you know what? Do yourselves a favor. Do yourselves, the whole world, a favor, and do not become a citizen of a country if you have no intention of actually assimilating and make a home out of it, including myself. Have I corrected myself? Doesn't mean I'm not going to advocate for peace elsewhere. It doesn't mean I'm totally negating and denying my existence as an African in my origin. But let me tell you, the day I've made the decision to pledge allegiance and claim citizenship of this country, I wasn't half asleep. I wasn't unconscious. Nobody turned my arms sideways to make me do that. I thought about it. I made a conscious decision to say, I pledge allegiance. I know I can tell you I have assimilated. No, it's hard to be me, I can tell you that, because I'm not from that world, I'm not from this world. Sometimes you find yourself in the middle because that other world tells you you're more like them than you are like us. And then this side tells you you're still somebody else. And who are you? I'm just me. See, this is why every now and then when I get to do these things, I talk about two different worlds. Because here is the world that I accepted, and I have raised children, my generation in, accepting that I belong here. This is home to me. But yes, part of me says, you have origin from elsewhere. I'm not denying that. I'm not. I can think. Okay? I'm not. Like I said, it's okay to be here for different reasons and different motivations. But we should ask ourselves what that motivation is. What is the long-term intent? Earlier, I had mentioned the difference between immigrants way back then and immigrants in the recent years. There's a huge difference. The ones that, everybody, you know how everybody says, well, everybody's an immigrant here. Okay, there is truth to that. But what is the difference? They built this country. They made it home. For some immigrants, and you know who you are. Even in death and dying, we want our dead body sent back home. Tell me that is allegiance. Tell me that is loyalty. Tell me I have ulterior motives for wanting to put my hand up, completely oblivious to what I just said and done, to only physically be here. As far as I am concerned, I get everything I get because that little paper says I am now a citizen, but everything about me says I got me home elsewhere. That is the thing that I'm struggling with. That is the thing that I want to be clear with. And I'm not suggesting, and I am not saying for any one of us to cut ties to our origin, because let me tell you that I will always be that origin. We have people from Europe. If they do count their ancestry, they will go back all the way back. All the way back. Do you see them being put in a box when they die and be sent to Europe? No, because they've made a home out of this nation, this land. They built this land. So question, what are we building here? So we get educated here, but we want to do stuff over there. We do business here, but we want to invest it elsewhere. We take care of our families, right? We raise our children, but we want them at the end of the day to go do stuff over there and not here. How many of us are guilty of this? And I am speaking to the immigrant communities, and I don't mean just the African communities. I'm talking about anyone and everyone who happens to be here, migrated here. By the way, let me say this. Unless otherwise, we're just changing definitions because we want them to fit a certain narratives. There's a difference between migrant and immigrant. I know because it used to be my job. Okay? Go look at the actual definition of migrants. Unless otherwise, we're changing definitions so that they fit a certain narrative. When refugees and immigrants come here, they come through the immigration process. Yes, migrants do the same thing, but migrants are not the same as refugees. Migrants were not the same as immigrants. The immigration status was different from what I know. I'm qualifying it by saying, unless otherwise, we're changing now the definitions and the meanings of those things because now we want them to fit into certain things. Hey, that's not for me to debate that. Let me be the voice. This last week, South Africa is saying, oh, you immigrants, you foreigners, get out. That's what they said. From the continent of Africa, Africans are telling other Africans, you don't belong here. You need to get out because you're foreigners. So, let's be honest. It bothers us when somebody says, go. Africans are telling other Africans to get out. Wrong or right, that's what is being said. But then we're okay to do the same thing elsewhere and expect that, oh, it's my right because I have a piece of paper that says otherwise. But my motivation, my inclination, anything and everything I do isn't necessarily to take part in this nation, to be a productive and contributing citizen. I have an interest elsewhere. Why? We don't have any plan to actually take root here? This is why I've been saying, then if that is your intention, do not become a citizen. Take up another status. You're here for education, just do that and go. You're here for business, do your business. And when your investment is over and done with, and now you can go enjoy life, whichever place you want to, knock yourself out and go do that. But my deal, my frustration, and why I'm saying this is because it actually grabbed me. This is my own conviction that I am putting out for the rest of the world to hear. If you become a U.S. citizen or a citizen of any other country, then you belong to that country. Good, bad, or indifference. If you've become wealthy or wealthier, invest it back in there. You cannot tell me, nobody from the immigrant community can tell me I'm actually making this is a wrong statement. We all know. If somebody was to take time and actually do the research, which maybe it's a beautiful thing to do, we're body present. Everything else is absent. We're body present here, but anything and everything about us says something else. So let's not be offended anymore when somebody says, if you really are all about that other place, why are you not there building that other place? Listen, I know I'm going to get all kinds of backlash from this, but truth hurts. The truth is, unless otherwise we get it, unless otherwise we participate, unless otherwise we are 100% committed to make a home out of this place, why are we going through the process of getting into a false allegiance? Why? Some of us make statements. Heard this too. Oh, China is everywhere. China is in Africa. China is nothing but hegemonious. Oh, we can't trust China because China only has one interest. And that's not okay. Okay, then that's not okay, but let's apply that same principle. What are we doing? What are we doing exactly? What are we doing? If China is being hegemonious and we can't trust the motives behind China, what is our motive then? If it's not hegemonious, then what is it? What is it? Honestly speaking, and I know this is going to come across for some people what has happened to her. Trust me, nothing has happened to me. Yeah, I know who I am, and that's enough. That is enough for me. I am trying to balance. I am trying to balance. I am speaking about it because it was also a conviction of mine. Where do I stand? And I must choose. Nobody is saying you must denounce one. Nobody's saying you must cut ties. It's just how you do it and why you do it, the motivation behind it, intention, the long-term plan, the purpose, the goal, what's in it for you, what's in it for me, why am I here, all these different questions. I think we should all stop and ask ourselves. By the way, I thought when you become a U.S. citizen, you're not an immigrant anymore, you are a U.S. citizen, but apparently we're not there yet. Apparently we're not there yet. I will be that voice and tell you, I will vouch for what this country has to offer. The person that I am today has anything and everything to do with what this country has to offer, because I lived here longer than I lived anywhere else. The education I have, the person that I have become, the experiences that I have gained through employment, opportunities. Nobody put it on a platter and said, here, mame, I've worked my tail off. Yes. So while I'm at it, let me talk about another thing. Let's not put everybody in the same bucket, right? It's true for any community. We don't like it when somebody makes a blanket statement about white people. We don't like it when somebody makes a blanket statement about black people. We do not like it when somebody makes a blanket statement about anything at all. Anything. So let's not put every immigrant in that same bucket and toss them out. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. There is not a single day that I have not been ungrateful about what this country had to offer and what was offered to me. Not a single day. Yeah. I'm grateful that I have a family. I'm grateful that I have children that are educated as much as they are educated, and they are contributing citizens of this country. See, this is how hard it is to be me sometimes, because I can't even just speak about one thing, because I feel like I'm in between two worlds. I'm always going back and forth about both ways, because you see me, you see a certain thing. You hear me sometimes talk about certain things, and some people say, well. That's why I'm talking about from an immigrant perspective, as well as an American who assimilated in this country. Let me be that immigrant voice. As a nation, we need to get back to the basics. As a nation, we need to get away from making anything and everything about sides, right or left, and politics. Listen, that is all good, and you have the freedom to be in it and do whatever you would. But let me tell you, if you really want to learn from some of us, we've seen it the hard way, you've got to put the country first. The reason why you even have right or left, the reason why you have any sorts of political narratives, is because you have a country to begin with that allows you to have that freedom, my dear. Freedom is not free. It's not. Freedom is not free. Take it from us. I am that immigrant voice here today to tell you, make it about a country first. When you denounce your own country, when you put down your own flags, somebody else's flag will be raised. Mark my word. Yeah, it boils my blood when I see that. It does. Because I know the difference. I know I know the nation, I know the country now. I felt when I first stepped off foot in this country, and I know where we're at today. It's not a good path. Yeah. We don't have to have something like 9/11 to come together and say, hoorah, who comes against us? Let me tell you, you have got to put country first anytime and every time. So when people are talking about, look what's happening elsewhere and look what's happening elsewhere, we need to be really careful. It's not about narrative. It's about lived experience. They're telling you, red flag. Somebody is raising the flag to say, danger, wake up, don't be foolish. 9/11 has taken away so much from this nation because this nation is known for being kind, trusting, right? So let's not go the other extreme. It's good to be wise. Let's not make it about one against the other. That's not what it is. The nation does not have an enemy from within. But let me tell you, we're about to see some incredible things because we just did not know how we let certain enemies step into the picture. Well, some of them are pretty open about it. I don't need to be scriptive. They're pretty open about their agenda. Are we okay with it? Let me be that immigrant voice that's going to annoy you today and tell you, wake up, people. Believe me when I tell you, we've seen it before. This is not something that we take sitting down. It's not a political statement. It's not some kind of narrative. It's about somebody sounding the warning. Make it about a country first. You wonder why millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of other nations want to be here. Stop and ask that question first. Why? Obviously, there is something that they see and they lack. And I'll tell you, more than anything else, what people are seeking is that peace of mind, that's freedom to just be left alone. The pursuit of happiness? Yeah. So why are we in a hurry to lose that? And I'm so glad I get to say this weekend because it's a Memorial Day. Let me tell you, let's remember. People have paid the ultimate price willingly and freely. I'll tell you an example. I've worked with veterans, and I was overseeing a certain program, and I was putting out some information together that will go out to veterans. So I was creating this little information pamphlet type of thing, and I went ahead and put a little image of the flag, and I put the information on that little pamphlet thing that would be given to other veterans as they come in seeking services. And I showed it, thank God, to another veteran before I put it out. And let me tell you, I watched the face of that veteran turn pink, red, and all kinds of different colors, literally quivering and saying, what did you do? Long story short, I was very much educated. He sat down and said, I get it. You may not have this background information, but let me teach you. He sat me down and he told me why I shouldn't deface the flag itself. Yeah. I know what it took for him to actually calmly educate me because what I did was not intentional. We have had events where we were putting in, mind you, these are not necessarily like events, cultural events just to us. These were events, political campaigns that we've been involved in, and we were putting flags side by side. And I remember people, veterans and American citizens, literally walking in and saying, you will not do that while I'm standing here. Because one, we switched whichever way the flags were being posted. None of us knew. And it was like an inch, not even an inch, a certain like a small amount of distance between how high and how low the flags were, and it meant everything to certain people. And we were educated. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Instead of them making something out of it and just leave, some took time and say, listen, you live here now, you might as well know these things. You just can't do that. And for that reason, anytime and every time we do something, I'm always advocating and saying, you will not raise your flag before we raise this flag. Because we here, we live here. We're under the constitution of this, which, by the way, I have a challenge for the immigrant community. How many of you have read the Constitution of the United States? Be honest. You don't have to respond to anybody but to yourself. Do you know what it says? But you're citizens, right? Listen, I'm not criticizing anyone. It is in my education background, so I had to read it, and I'm so glad I did. How do you raise your children here in this country and not at least read the Constitution once? But we're out there talking about our rights. Have you read it? Do you have it in your household? I'm glad. I'm glad this weekend is the weekend, because as I think about it, as I thought about it, this is the perfect weekend for me to talk about this. Are you willing to pay the ultimate price for this country? If the answer is maybe not, I don't know, I'm not sure, then you have a bigger question to ask. Now, I'm not saying everybody is so quick to say, oh, send me. Listen, maybe it's because I was raised in a military home as a child. The country means a lot to me. I know what it means when somebody stands and lives and dies for a country. I know. That could be the reason why I'm feeling this way. But I'll be honest with you. If we're not honest, and if the only reason why we're in any nation, not just the United States of America, anywhere in the world, if your intent, if your motivation is other than to make a home out of it, I think we all need to be honest. People talk about immigration reform. Here is one. Maybe this could be a thing. Who knows? But let me say it. How about instead of bringing everybody here and make them permanent, how about we allow people to come in exactly for the reasons that they want to come in? They want to do business, give them a business status. They want to come for education, let them just be that. And I know there is a student visa. I really am not that dense. How did we get to the point where half the world wants to be here, but half the world does not want to make a home out of this place? Half the world who wants to be here only wants the benefits from it and gets offended when somebody raises that flag. We get offended. Somebody like me says something about, hey, by the way, you ought to make this home. This is a very, very conscious, this is very intentional realization for me after a while, and I talked about certain things. It hit me, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm doing the exact same thing that I'm actually telling people we shouldn't be doing. So I've made that conscious change. Not that I wasn't assimilated or I've always had ulterior motives for being here. It's okay. I'm telling you, I've been told I'm more American than anything else, and I'm okay with that. Absolutely, 100%, I'm fine with it. And the flip side of it, now I've said a whole bunch of things. When I see American nations be offended because somebody's raising the American flag, I want to say be careful. That's not something you want to do. You could dislike, you can disrespect, you could disagree, you could certainly do anything and everything about people, about administrations, right? About political status and political affiliation and any of that. Knock yourself out. But when it comes to putting the country, when it comes to disrespecting the flag, when it comes to missing the point, it's not the thing, it's what it represents, the nation behind it, the sovereignty of this country behind it. You're not disrespecting a person, you're not disrespecting an office. Well, you are in a way disrespecting the office itself, but you're not disrespecting, you may be disrespecting or you want to disrespect the person that's sitting in the office, but in the process of doing that, you're disrespecting the office itself. You could disagree and it's okay, it's a free world. Isn't that the principles of the world of America? It's a free world. Is it? But disrespecting the office, disrespecting the Constitution, manipulating what it is that it stands for, and actually using it for political narration, political narratives, political whatever. Oh, that is not a good place to be. Because some of us have lived through it. And that's why I'm saying, as we think about Memorial Day this weekend, think about it. Somebody had paid the price. Somebody's willing to pay the price. If that was asked of us, how many of us would say? I think that's a good question to ask. Am I willing to pay the price, whatever the price may be? If that is not the case, don't be shy, don't be shocked, don't be offended when somebody says, then what are you doing here? I already told you, in the world of Africa, South Africans are telling immigrants, go. What is this? What is this? This is me being the voice that nobody wants to hear. And I get it. I'm speaking to the immigrant, refugee, migrant, whatever the new name is anymore, communities. We have some thinking to do and some decisions to make. I'm not asking any one of us to cut ties. I'm not asking any one of us to disown anything at all, but we have to be honest and we have to be true to ourselves, because we're raising children and they're watching us. The next generation is watching. What are we doing? And then for the Americans, hear me when I say this, and with all the respect I can give, you have got to make it about a country first. I'll say this again. When you dishonor your flag, when you lower your flag, when you disrespect your flag, when you put down your flag, somebody else is bound to raise theirs because they're watching you. And for what it's worth, I'm going to continue to be that small voice of a reason to say, let's not go there. That is not the path we want to take as a nation. So that said, make it about remembering, make it about honoring those that have paid the ultimate price. Take a moment, get your mind, get your head out of politics, out of taking sides, whatever the narrative is, and think about it. Make this weekend about remembering what it took for this country to be what this country is today. The ultimate price, the sacrifice has been made. So when you disrespect the flag, you are not disrespecting a political party. You are not disrespecting an individual. You're disrespecting those who actually paid the ultimate price. You're disrespecting and dishonoring and putting down your own country. That said, make it a great weekend. God bless the United States of America. God bless us all. This is Mame, and this has been Independent Voice. Until next time.